Welcome to Tennis Essence and good evening. We are coming into the Australian Open. It's about to happen, folks, and I'm so excited. In my last post, we talked about the men's draw. We got into a little bit more detail about what my predictions are. And here I want to talk a little bit more about the unseeded and otherwise sort of underdog competitors in this draw at the Australian Open who are capable of staging an upset, who are capable and then potentially, although not likely, but potentially also capable of screwing up my predictions. Now, there are a few people like this. As I've said in a couple of other posts, there are so many talented and outstanding tennis players in the men's draw for the 2018 Australian Open. But I wanted to mention, let's say five of the competitors, the players in the men's draw that are most likely to stage something of an upset, and I might mention who they could upset as well. The first person that really deserves mention is Denis Shapovalov. I'm sorry, I should be able to pronounce this guy's name. Shapovalov. Now, Valov. Listen, this guy from Canada has demonstrated himself to be, he's very young and he's, as they say, green, inexperienced, but he has a very impressive tennis game, amazing speed on his ground strokes, and he looks to be a very promising player. Now, he could do an upset fairly early in the Australian Open. He would have a potential match with Kyrgios that could result in an upset, if you ask me, and I'm not a big Kyrgios fan. But definitely Canada's Denis Shapovalov is going to be a threat at the Australian Open and in forthcoming Grand Slam tournaments and otherwise on the tour. Another person who's not seeded who could deal something of an early upset and screw up some of these my predictions is Gael Monfils. Now, he's been around for a long time and he's sort of an unpredictable player, but when he's on, he is capable of doing some serious upsetting and some serious damage to his opponents, even when they are top-seeded opponents. He could, for example, stage something of an upset against Stan Wawrinka. There's another individual who's not really an underdog, but we have to talk about him more because I think it very much suggests, in the light of the past events and just the recent past, that Juan Martín del Potro is ready for a rise in potential and a realization of all of his potential. He is a great player. I love to see him win, except when it's against Federer, but he is someone who could really screw things up. Well, again, he's a known player, and in a way, his seeding as of number 12 is not really reflective of where he is. He's one of the most feared players on the circuit. And one or two other players I'll mention. Richard Gasquet, France's Richard Gasquet, who looked fantastic in his recent match against Rafael Nadal. Well, listen, Gasquet has again been uneven in his performances, but he has this amazing backhand and he has an amazing potential in terms of his game, and he has a record of showing that at least it exists, even though he has not been able to apply pressure in this very consistent way. But it may be a time for him. Now, he's capable of doing upsets, and he's done them before, so that could happen as well. It might happen against Miles Raonic, who I'm not real confident in, and it could happen against Sam Querrey, who is not really a favorite, but just happens to be ranked above Gasquet, and so that would be something of an upset. Who else could I mention here? I don't think I mentioned Ryan Harrison. He looked even though he lost to Nick Kyrgios, he looked very sharp and in fine form. He's the American, and he could stage something of an upset in the early rounds, possibly against Marin Cilic in a third-round match. So those are some people, some unseeded people, or some people that I haven't been talking about that really are capable and that are sort of few of them, Del Potro not really, but a few of them are underdogs coming into this, or people that haven't been able to realize their potential. But 2018 might be their year with a couple of these people that I've mentioned. And one of the reasons I love tennis so much is because it's ultimately it's not a predictable sport. Everyone loses in tennis. There is no one who's been able to escape basically embarrassing, even crushing losses. I mean, even Federer has suffered crushing losses. It happens. It's an unpredictable sport, but it's a very fair, and I just love the way it's a one-on-one sport, and it's all about the merit. It's all about your ability. It's all about your ability as an individual. It's a one-on-one sport, and that's what I love about it. It's also a growing sport. Unlike football, for example, the NFL, which has become so recently politicized. Tennis, I believe, is a growing industry. It should be anyway. I'm trying to kind of participate in that. But those are my thoughts as to the unseeded players who could stage, unseeded and otherwise unappreciated players who might be able to stage significant upsets at the 2018 French Open. I will talk to you soon. Can't wait for the tournament to begin in earnest anyway. It's not going to be, I suppose it's Monday morning, in fact, if I'm reading the time difference. So it's Monday morning Australian time, but for those of us in the States, I'm in Boston. It's going to be more like early evening when the first round matches on the men's side anyway begin. Can't wait for it. Looking forward to talking soon. Remember to subscribe for the essential commentary. I'm not a tennis instructor, but I love tennis. I am the biggest. I would say that I'm just one of the biggest passionate lovers of tennis on the face of the earth, and so that's what I offer you: commentary, and hopefully smart commentary on the game. Talk soon and leave comments. Bye.